All right. Happy Monday, everyone. Here we go. Someone else jumping in. Okay, so bit of change of plans for tonight's training, but it is going to be super valuable. So I want you guys to get your pen and paper out, or your notes on your phone, wherever you guys write your notes down. And I'm going to speak about finding your two niches for your business. So you'll have also two people that you talk to. And if you haven't heard of this before, you do want to get quite specific with the people that you're talking to through your messages on your social media, through your stories, how you're posting things, because we all have an Arbonne business, but people don't buy Arbonne, they buy us. So we really need to get clear on who we are helping. And I'm going to run you through some ways to figure out who your ideal customer is and who your ideal consultant is. And you want to look at these like the sisters, like they're kind of the same person, but they kind of need to have different needs, because someone who wants to have more energy or clear up their skin is someone completely different who wants to start a business. Okay, so but they could be like they could both be a mum, they could both be, have little kids. So they're kind of like similar people in that sense, but when you want to talk to them, they're different. Um, so the plan is for March, guys. I'm giving myself a deadline, is to do like a mini boot camp for you guys where I can record it and you guys can just watch it in your own time and really start to like fine tune your Instagram and social media and like kind of your messaging and your audience and things like that. So this is kind of like a little starter for it. And I'm currently doing a little workshop myself to really like upskill in this area as well, because social media is always changing, but it is also such an incredible tool that we can leverage and we can really scale. So yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. Look, guys, last time I did this, it didn't work very well. Let's try this one. Can you see it should say module one? Oh, wait. Can you see that? Can you like put a thumbs up or something? It should say module one. No, yes, no. If not, no, I can't see anyone. All right, you can. Okay. I'm just going to read through this, but you kind of like, you might not understand the notes, but it's kind of something where, um, mm, actually the notes might confuse you. What I'll do, I'll stop sharing it. Sorry. This is something I want to like do and record them and make it a little bit easier for you. So this can be my notes, but you guys can take down the main points and I can copy and paste it into our chat just to make it a little bit easier. So what you want to be finding is your two niches, your ideal customer and ideal consultants. If you want to get a piece of paper, you might want to get divided into or do one piece for your customer and another piece for your consultant. And you really want to think about like who this person is. And the best way to figure out who that person is that you want to speak to is the person who you were 2, 3, 4 stages ago. So for example, I actually started through the products. So almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I was pregnant. I had very shitty skin. I was low energy and I just felt like really blah all the time. And I ran into a friend and she was like high vibe. She had so much energy. I hadn't seen her for about 9 months and she had lost probably like 10 kgs. But it wasn't even just that, it was like a whole presence who had just changed. And from speaking with her, her name's Claire Rapida. She is actually still my active upline, but she doesn't really jump on calls, does she? I think I've seen her on one call in like 3 years. But the thing is that she just like the change in her through the products, just I was like, whatever you're taking, I want these. And so that was where I was. So my pain points, so this could be for you for an example, like my pain points were I wanted better skin. I always had like these blind spots here, like, and I'd always, or down here as well, like really big blind spots all the time, bad skin. And so that was my original reason for joining Arbonne, was through the products. And then, so for your, so think about for you, for your product size, like why, if you're using when you're using the products, like have you noticed the changes in yourself? Like, have you noticed better energy? Have you noticed that you're not as bloated? Have you noticed your skin clear up? Have you noticed that you've just got more motivation throughout the day? Like really think about where you once were And that's what you want to be putting through. So just really brainstorm all of that into your customer. And then for your business ideal consultant, you can do the same. So who were you before you started this business and why did you join this business? So for example, I was 5 months postpartum, sitting at home watching the 600-pound life. If you don't know what that is, it's like, I don't know, 600 pounds is like 300 or 400 kgs, like these really, really, really big people sitting on the couch breastfeeding, watching this TV. And I was just like, felt like no motivation. I was just in this rut where I didn't want to go back to my personal training business because of the hours. I honestly can't believe I used to do that because now I couldn't think of anything worse to do. But Teresa, I was breastfeeding. So it was like in the all the mum life. And I was just like, you know what, like this is shit. Like I want to find something better. And so I was looking for something that I could work flexible around my kids. And I found Arbonne. I wanted something that was fulfilling. So I found Arbonne. I wanted something where I could like dictate my pay. I could, if I worked hard. So that was who I was. So I'm speaking to like that kind of like a new mum. I'm speaking to an ex-business woman. Think about why you came into the business, like what drew you into this business and what were your pain points? Where were you 2 or 3 stages ago? Why did you say yes? Because your ideal team member is going to be sharing the same pain points. So for example, for a business person, you could be, I'm I help new mums. I didn't write this down very well. I've just had Stuart come on. I'll let him in and just tell him I'll finish this little part and then he can take over. Um, hey Stuart, I have just lovely to see you on here.
Hi.
Um, I'll just finish this little bit of training that I'll maybe like 3 or 4 minutes and I'll get you to take over. Thank you so much for coming on. Um, so an example for your ideal business partner, you could be saying, I'm helping ex-business owners and new mums find their purpose and fulfillment beyond motherhood. And an example for a customer niche, like your niche customer, you could be, I help tired new mums regain their energy in 3 easy steps. And those 3 easy steps is like the Green Gut Glow. Or you could be like the Green Gut Glow, more water in your day, um, gratitude, things like that. So I will just leave that there, but that is like your homework for tonight is to like really, really, really brainstorm your niches. And then the next training next week, I can really help you understand like how to implement this into like your storytelling on your stories, your reels, your posts, and all that thing. So you're actually attracting the right people to you. So thank you, Stuart, for coming on. And um, so Stuart's all the way in the UK. If you have not met him before, I haven't actually met you before, just online. Um, but yeah, I'm going to leave it to you to take over, and we
Yeah,
can't wait to hear from you.
fabulous. Sorry I was late on the call.
That's all right.
Um, I just wanted to touch on what you just said actually, because I think it's really interesting. So having your avatar, person you're looking for, is so important. So when you go out and about, you're like, oh my God, that's the girl, that's the person I need to be speaking to. So personally, for me, to kind of give you an overview of like what I look for in my success line and to direct to me, I'm looking for women mainly, unless maybe a gay man, but mainly women. Because what happens with what I've realized with straight men, they come into the business and just have sex with all my team, and I'm like, this is not part of the plan, guys. This is please stop. So I just focus on gay guys and women between the age of about 27 to about 40. Well, it used to be 40, but now I'm 40 myself. Maybe I can up that level a little bit more. But 27 for me was the perfect age because I feel like when you've got a traditional job and you're working and you're driven and you've got like all these goals you want to achieve and you get to the age of 27, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, is this it? At that age was when I personally felt like there has to be more to life than doing a normal boring job, getting paid minimum wage, and like I was searching for something. Was I searching for Arbonne? No. But I was searching for something at that age. So that's why I always try and go for that 27-year-old. I personally would prefer not to have mums because mums honestly, as you can tell by this morning, for me, it's friggin' having children is hard work. Trying to have children, organize, lead a family, and lead an Arbonne business. That's a lot to juggle. So I personally would prefer you not to have children, so you can just focus on Arbonne and that's it. Um, and so that age 27 to like 35, I think it's just prime real estate for people to actually attack Arbonne, and then they can have a family afterwards. But that's just what I'm looking for always. But it's neither not wrong nor right, because there are a lot of people, don't get me wrong. Well, I'd say 99.999% of people have a family before they start Arbonne, and they are hugely successful. Like these women in Vegas, this is why going to Vegas is so amazing, because you go to Vegas and you hear this woman, "Hi, I've got 9 kids. I've been doing Arbonne, and I've had 9 kids, and I got to Nation in a year with 9 kids." And I'm thinking to myself, how on earth does that math even work? I do not understand, but that's how, it is possible. It's what I want to say. So having your avatar, like having someone I always like to have someone that has a job, that isn't really entrepreneurial. But again, this is just my choice, because I find there's more people that have jobs than more people than that are entrepreneurial. So when I'm speaking to people that are in a job, rather than try and convince them to be an entrepreneurial person, because most people that have jobs are quite fixed mindset. So first, when I first speak to them, I say, I work with this brand that I think you'll be really, really good with. And the reason you'll be good is I list all of their attributes of all the reasons. You're high energy, you're fun, I love being around you. And this company are looking for people right now to build the business with over in New Zealand, over in wherever you are, whatever country you're speaking to them. I just think you'd be a perfect fit. Could I just have a quick coffee catch up with you and tell you about it? Can I have a quick Zoom with you? To be honest, I do most things on Zoom until that person says yes to me. Once that person says yes to me, then I'll go and meet them, and then I'll go and like do the launches and all that kind of stuff. But I'm so busy right now, and so are you, I'm sure. That doing a half an hour Zoom, bang, I can do that. Driving half an hour, having a half an hour to an hour coffee, and then driving home, that's just one person that I get to speak to in that time. I'd prefer to fit in four. So just make sure that when you're speaking to people, that you are in, this is what I always find really helps, that you personally don't have really much time to speak to them either. Because if that person sees you and you're doing a 4 hour call with them, they're like, I don't have time for that. I've got this responsibility, this responsibility. Whereas if you can go, right, I'm going to jump on this Zoom right now with you. In the beginning of the call, we go, I'm going to keep this really short, half hour max, just so then they really understand that this is a business that you fit in and around you and your family. Your family always comes first for me personally. I'm sure everybody feels the same. My family always comes first. And then Arbonne is the thing that fits in around my family. And so that's the reason why I have this lifestyle. I was on the ski slopes. Does everyone know my story? Does everyone no? Okay, let me just tell you my story really quickly, just for the ones that don't. So I've been in Arbonne. I got introduced to Arbonne, 2010, but I didn't start until 2011. I was one of those people when Sarah told me about Arbonne, I kind of like was skirting around it, like really interested, but a little bit like scared. Oh my God, this is something new. Can I do it? Ooh. But then when I saw Sarah, I was like, surely this is possible, because Sarah was really shy. She, yeah, she just wasn't who she is right now. She was a completely different person. So I thought to myself, okay, I can do this. So I launched my business in 2011. Um, and then I kind of thought like everyone would say yes to me. This is Sarah Dunning, yes, sorry, Sarah Dunning, the Sarah Dunning. I thought everyone would say yes to me. I thought it'd be super easy, and no one would say no, because everyone wants to have better health, better skin, and make more money from doing those two things. I was like, why would anyone not want to do that? So I had a hard reality check that actually not everyone was wanted to do R1. And I was like, oh my God, this is much harder than I thought. Oh, poor me. But then what in that 10 months of being a consultant, I was always in district manager qualification. I was always working my business, but I just never get into that next stage, which was district manager. But in that time, I saw other people become district, become area, become region, become nation. And I was like, oh, they're no different to me. Actually, I'm more fun than them. And I'm sure that once I get this going, and if I put my all my attention into it, I can do this too. And it wasn't me being a judgmental queen. It was just me going, we are exactly the same. There is no difference between you, me, and the thing sometimes, and I'm sure people in New Zealand have this too, if you hear an American accent, you sometimes think, or an English accent, you sometimes think that that person's different to you. I used to listen to the American national vice president speaking, and I was like, oh yeah, but I'm not like that, so I can't do it. Like I can't be a national vice president. But actually, all it is an accent, and I really feel like with a New Zealand, if I had a New Zealand accent, I was going to try and do one then, but I was like, I'm not going to do it. But sometimes it can help you think to yourself, oh, actually, it is possible because I can hear that same person in my accent do Arbonne. Right now, there isn't millions of people in New Zealand who are at the top of Arbonne right now. So you have to be that person. And I heard this one training from Caroline McFarland. So Caroline is the first district manager, area manager, regional vice president, and national vice president in the UK. She was the one that originated, has got the biggest success line in the UK. And she did this training, and she's like, if you can't see someone at the top of the company that's like you, then you need to be that person for people that are like you. And that just hit me. I was like, oh my God. That makes total sense. I couldn't see another person that was like me, that had the energy like me, that was come from nothing, had no money. All the other national vice presidents that I were in the UK at least, they all came from a lot of money. They all had Porsches and Ferraris and houses and all these things well before me. And or I didn't have any of that stuff. I was working for £8 an hour. So although I wanted that lifestyle, I was still like, oh, is can I do that? But then when I heard that sentence that I need to do it for the people that are working for £8 an hour, that do have dreams and aspirations, but just don't and have drive, but just doesn't have the kickstart that some other people had. So it kind of really kicked a rocket up my bum. So I decided in 2012, which was, well, it's actually December 2011, at the end of the year, I was like, right, next year, I have to become a regional vice president. And I've got to do it quick because why not? So the in January, I went district qual again. I was crying on the bathroom floor, going, "This is just not fair." I worked really hard. February, I went area manager qualification, so I completed districts and went into area qual. March, I went regional vice president qualification, so I completed area and went into regional vice president. And then April, I completed region, and I also promoted out another regional vice president as well. So it was just an insane momentum, insane time. And people always ask me, what changed? What did you do? And when I sponsored this girl called Claire Fishington at the end of January. And just to give you a quick story of why never to give up on Arbonne. So that I'd say it was like December time, and I was like starting to approach her. I wrote on my Facebook, because back then we didn't have Instagram, it was only Facebook. I wrote on my Facebook profile, oh, Claire Fishington, I can't wait to see you. We're going to go for coffee. And I was going to talk to her, like the introduction, because we didn't have Zoom back then, start the introduction of Arbonne to her there. It's kind of like I hadn't seen her for like 7, 8 years. So it was still kind of wasn't like a fresh lead. It was someone that I kind of like knew, but wasn't really that close to at the time. And so I wrote that on my Facebook profile. As soon as I did that, this girl called Sophie Linda Lee messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm speaking to Claire about Arbonne. So if it's okay, just I've already kind of said it." It's like I said, because in the way that Arbonne always rolls, I was like, there is an abundance of people. You go, you do that. I'll just big up Arbonne. I'm still going to meet her for a coffee. I'm just going to big up Arbonne, and you can then sponsor her. So I did that. I went sofa shopping with Claire. We went around the sofa shops, And I literally bigged up Arbon. And they're probably, because it wasn't for me this time, I was just doing it because I really loved her and I'd love to see her succeed at the business. I was just really bigging up and was like, Sophie's amazing. Just go back to her. She'll explain everything to you in detail. But this is really exciting. Anyway, January comes and Claire messages me and said, listen, I've tried to arrange 4 or 5 meetings with Sophie and she keeps cancelling every time. Please, can you tell me what you were talking about with Arbonne? Because I really, really need this. And so I was like, 1 second, let me call Sarah Dunning. And because Sarah would sponsor Sophie, let me find out if what's going on with Sophie and why she's cancelling. So I called Sarah and Sarah was like, Sophie's given up. And I was like, oh, she's like, you can sponsor her because Sophie doesn't do Arbonne anymore. I was like, oh, brilliant. 12 weeks later, from the start of Claire's business, she was a regional vice president. If Sophie had just done that one more presentation, she was an executive area manager. She was the big dog for me. I was looking up to her thinking, oh my God, this girl is amazing. If she had just sponsored one more person who was keen to do Arbonne, but she just needs to do the actual meeting itself, she would be a national vice president right now and living, she would have had Fabs in her downline. She would have had an Australian national vice president success line. You just never know when that next one person is going to change your business. By sponsoring Claire at the end of January, she started Arbonne. She had a massive vision. She really spoke about the business so well from day one. So this is what I learned from Claire. I was faffing around the presentation. I kind of knew it, kind of didn't, wasn't very confident in speaking about it. Claire, day one, knew the full presentation. She maybe had a script in her hand, but when she spoke like she actually knew what she was talking about rather than some person that had no idea what was going on. And that made me go, oh my God, I need to learn this presentation. I need to speak this presentation like I'm a national vice president, like I'm earning $30,000 every single month, because that kind of the energy and the thing behind that, speaking that like that, changes your business. So I heard her do that on week one, the presentation, and she was doing a presentation on Zoom to an American that I was on, but I was on just to listen to her to make sure she was saying all the right things. And she was like, blew me away. Week two, I was like, oh my God, I need to learn the presentation as good as Claire. And so I learned the presentation really, 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 really well. And then I started presenting to people saying like, this business will change your life if you trust me. If you trust me and we work together on this, I can absolutely change every part of your life. The excitement, the energy, the drive, the vision that I had for this business completely changed. And that's why 4 months later, I was a regional vice president. So I didn't sponsor huge amounts of people actually. I sponsored around about 12 people direct to me um, in that 4 months. But what I did is then I just really dug down into those legs and helps. One of them was an area manager, one was a district, and then the rest were like area quals, etc. To go regional vice president, really all you need is between 6 to 10 working directs. They can be at any level, but they have that's the magic number for me. So can you think to yourself, could I find 6 to 10 people that are working at the same time? And that's why I think doing it fast is really, really good, because when you have the speed and the energy of someone going region, those 6 people all feel like they're part of something really, really exciting. Whereas if you do region over a year, you've just got people that are a bit more sluggish and slow, and you want to have that kind of like out the park energy of like, wow, this is so exciting. Our team is on fire. And that's why sponsoring in a really quick succession and having that really strong, solid foundation is so, so, so important. Then going back to my story, then spent 2 years as a regional vice president that before I went nation. Why did I take so long to go nation? I was the year that I went region actually was on reduced qualifications like we are right now, and I was very, 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 very close by the end of that year to go into nation. I did like 100 and I think it was like 110,000, so I was super close to go into nation qual. But I had this thing of I just didn't feel worthy of earning a £10,000, $20,000 a month paycheck. I just had worthiness issues over money. So I had to do a lot of work on that because I'd never earned anything. £4,000 for me was a lot of money. And that for me was life-changing. I wasn't really in Arbonne, well, I was, but the fear of earning a lot of money really, really scared me. And so I read a book called it's by T. Harv Eker, and it's you have the secrets of a millionaire mind. It's such a good book. And then I went to this course. Has these courses that happen over in London, Secret of a Millionaire Mind. I went to this course, and that is where I met Samantha Reed. And then the rest is history because Samantha Reed is all of your success line. But I met her at that course, I was a national vice president at that time, but I was I was just trying to build my money mindset as much as humanly possible. And so that's how that happened as well. So going to as much, trying to be hanging around with people that have those kind of minds that want more. And Sam was a totally different character back then. It's so crazy. So I don't know how many of you really know Sam, but Samantha Reed is your upline. And when she very first started Arbonne, she was like, she had all the fears. She was scared. She was so different. And then she turned into this like national vice president making machine. And she was like aggressive. And it was incredible, like just absolutely amazing. But the growth I've seen in her over these few years has just been amazing. Like I love Sam so much. So anyway, went national vice president, and I've been there now for the past 10 years. So I've been a national vice president for over a decade, earning I've never earned less than £10,000, which I think is around about $18,000, roughly. I've never earned less than that in my entire this past decade. And that has risen and got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to I was on the ski lift with my little boy Rio and my husband Francis, and I was on the ski lift going, "Oh my God, none of this would have been possible if I hadn't have worked my Arbonne business." Like I am just so beyond grateful for this business, but I'm also so beyond grateful for me because there's lots of people this business passes their hands and they go, "Oh, I'll give it a go. I'll see how I do." But for me, whenever I felt like, oh God, I just don't know if I can do it, I always used to look around and be like, what else can I do? What else can I do? If I give up now, what else can I do? And I know there are a lot of these shiny penny things that out there right now that offer you the world. But I know a lot of those things, I know some of the people that are in those things that maybe used to be in my team that I have conversations with on the regular that are actually really sad that they don't do Arbonne. They miss the community, they miss the people pushing them and the drive. And there is something so special about Arbonne. So although you can look at the side and think, oh, they're earning more money, I know they're not. No one has ever left an Arbonne business and is earning more money than me. I'm telling you that right now. And so all you need to do is build your business to a point where you can say the same thing. Like no one's ever left my Arbonne business and has out earned me. National vice president is where the business begins. So right now, you're just in university for Arbonne. You're just in the course where you're like, you're part of the group, you're part of the gang. Like you're in the university stage of Arbonne. This first 3 years, first 5 years, however long you want to do university. If you're doing it on a part-time basis at night school, it's going to take you longer to get your university national vice president diploma than it is if you just go for it. And it doesn't need to be full time ever. Arbonne never needs to take over your entire life, but there are stages where it does. So go in district, you've got to really go for it. Go in area, you've got to put your whole body, your spirit, your soul into it for like 3 or 4 months of just like drive, attack. Then when you go region, you've got to do exactly the same. And when you go nation again, and then as a national vice president, all you're doing then is helping other people find their light, find their power, and it's just incredible. So Energy, I think, is the main thing that you 100% need in the business. If you don't feel like you've got a lot of energy, double dip on the fizz sticks. Honestly, so good. I double dip every morning. I think they're the best things ever. And if you still don't feel energy after that, then go and see a doctor. There's something wrong with you. I just love the fizz sticks so much. So just fall in love with the product. Have a great, these are my top tips for the end of the call. For another product, have a great product story. So if you are a person that, well, right now I'm fully all in with the 30-day plan and the 7-day cleanse. So document that, show people you're doing it, get some results, take a before and after photo, get some results of you on the product. If there's something wrong with your skin, well, there was never anything wrong with my skin, but my skin since using Arbonne has just been so clear and so amazing. I love it. So just have those two product testimonials. We've got next month. January, yeah, next month we've got the makeup launching, which is just honestly, it is so nice. I tried it all over in Maui. It looks divine. Like it is gonna sell like hotcakes. I can feel it. It just looks so classy and so amazing. Um, yeah, it's really, 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 really good. And the girls in Maui were just literally buzzing like little bees around it. It was just hilarious. But there's new product launches every single month of this year. So just get behind every single one of those and just run with it. But the main thing is to keep the vision, because if you don't have vision, Arbonne is really boring. If you because you're doing the same thing on repeat over and over and over and over again, speaking to people about the business, speaking to people about the products, and getting them started, and again, repeat, 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 repeat. And so actually it can be a little bit boring, a little bit monotonous. But if you have the vision of why you're doing all of these monotonous things, it just keeps you driven and driving for the main goal, which is not, it's not for the title, it's for the freedom and the flexibility and the feeling inside of you going, do you know what? I'm so proud of myself that I didn't give up. I'm so proud of myself that for those first 3 years of my Arbonne business, that I drove and made it happen. Yeah, and just having that feeling is the best thing ever, and having that freedom is like nothing else. So over and out from me. I hope that kind of like gives you an overview. Unless you've got any questions. Oh, every hurdle teaches you to grow. But I never see when people when someone says no to me, I never think, because Samantha Reed, for instance, she said no to me loads. And so some people would be like, I'm giving up on that person, she's never going to do it. But for me, I'm just like, I see potential with this person. So let's meet for coffee again. Let's go on do a date. If you see potential, if you believe this person, the same for Nicola Wills, who's a national vice president direct to me. She was my best friend, didn't really listen to Arbonne. But I just knew if she got it, she would be absolutely amazing. And she took 2 or 3 years before I was a regional vice president before she said yes to me. So 2 years, and then she signed up just before I went nation. So it's just, you need to be the proof. If don't go keep going back to people if they keep saying no and you haven't progressed, but keep going back to people. If you're a district manager, you're like, babe, I'm 2 steps away from getting the Mercedes now. Are you going to join me? Area manager, babe, the next level, I'm going to get my Mercedes. Are you going to join me? Yes or no? Get to region, babe, I've got the Mercedes now. What more proof do you need? But you have to be the person that's speaking outside of those conversations, because otherwise people just think, oh, it's not working for you, so it's not going to work for me. You need to show them this business works, and there's no other way other than Arbonne. So over now, unless anyone's got any other questions, but if not, I will let you go to bed. Thank you so much, everybody. Sorry I was late on the call.
No,
Emily.
thank you, Stuart. Thank you so much for tonight.
No worries.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.